2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 review. The retro future has arrived. Is it an SUV? Is it a hatchback? Doesn't matter. It's a great EV. John BELTZ SNYDER. The 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 marks a new era for the Korean automaker, and based on how all-around fantastic this all-electric SUV is, we think it's a sign of great things to come. Though technically a mid-size crossover, it's styled like a big hatchback, and a very retro-futuristic one at that. And based on its performance, especially in the dual-motor all-wheel drive version, this big hatch is hot. In addition to its good looks, though its styling may be a little polarizing, the Ioniq 5 checks off the EV boxes with compelling performance, ample range and super-fast charging capabilities. It's also quite comfortable and loaded with great infotainment and driver assistance tech. If you want an EV with a well-rounded combination of room, range, refinement and power, the Ioniq 5 is hard to beat, yes, even compared to the Tesla Model 3. If you need a little more ground clearance and rugged capability, you might want to check out the new Subaru Solterra, while the Ford Mustang Mach-E is a good choice from a performance perspective and if you're not quite sold on the Ioniq 5's looks. Ultimately, though, if you consider one other EV, it should be the Kia EV6, which is mechanically related to the Ioniq 5. Their EV credentials are very similar and they share many features. It looks completely different inside and out, however, and is probably less polarizing. It is also more widely available than the Hyundai. What's new for 2022? The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is an all-new model for 2022. What are the Ioniq 5's interior and in-car technology like? The Ioniq 5's cabin is big, bright and airy, with a minimalist design aesthetic that doesn't lose sight of functionality. Everything isn't controlled and displayed on one screen, and there are still conventional buttons and switches for things like the windows and climate control where you expect them to be. Even the touch-sensitive buttons and electronic shifter, which are usually a source of frustration, are reasonably well executed. In the limited trim, the center console is movable, sliding forward and backward. That console is home to a pair of cup holders, a large cargo tray, a slot for a phone, with an available wireless charging pad, and a pair of USB ports. It's a clean and calming space that's surprisingly spacious and airy. The color palette is limited, black monotone and two-tone gray with a two-tone green only available with the digital teal or shooting star exterior on the cell and limited trim levels. Every Ioniq 5 features dual 12.3-inch displays, with one serving as the instrument panel, the other as an infotainment touchscreen. It's one of the better infotainment systems on the market. The menus make sense, simple tasks like changing a radio station are easy, responses are quick, and it looks good. We also like the 60/40 split screen functionality that lets you look at audio and navigation, for instance, at the same time. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are not available, which obviously means you have to plug in your phone to use them. Unfortunately, the data USB port is under the dash down by your shin, below right, meaning your phone will end up stranded down there, too. The non-data USB ports and the available wireless charger are located in the center console, below left. The limited trim gets a head-up display with integrated augmented reality. In addition to the usual HUD duties, it can also project images to highlight the car ahead of you, give alerts about lane safety and help indicate where and when to make the next turn on your route. If that sounds like a lot of visual information, it is, but you can tailor the content shown in your HUD through menu selections. At present, the only other cars out there with this type of technology are the Mercedes-Benz S-Class and EQS. How big is the Ioniq 5? It's way bigger than it looks. While it looks like a hatchback in photos, seeing it in person, you can better understand why the Ioniq 5 is better classified as a midsize crossover SUV. Its wheelbase is about 3 inches longer than that of the 3-row Hyundai Palisade. As such, the Ioniq 5 is fabulously roomy inside. There's tons of footroom for both front and rear passengers. The front row is very open, and the available sliding center console opens that lounge-like space up even more. As for the cargo area, the footprint is big, but the aggressively raked rear window means taller items could impede the closure of the liftgate. The rear seats can slide forward to allow a little more luggage space, at the expense of second-row passenger space. The Ioniq 5 claims 27.2 cubic feet behind the second row, which is a slight disadvantage compared to the Ford Mustang Mach-E's 29.7 and the Volkswagen ID.4's 30.3. Max cargo space expands to 59.3 with the rear seats folded. We have yet to perform one of Autoblog's luggage tests with the Ioniq 5, so we don't know if it can outperform its on-paper specs like its Kia EV6 cousin was able to. There's no front trunk, or frunk, if you prefer, under the hood apart from a small space, 0.85 cubic feet, only big enough to stash the mobile charging cable or other small items. This is basically due to a packaging decision made when designing the Ioniq 5 to ensure the biggest passenger compartment possible. That's a fair trade as far as we're concerned. What are the Ioniq 5's range and performance specs? There are 3 drivetrain configurations for the Ioniq 5. The base standard range version has a 58 kWh battery good for 220 miles of driving. It is only available as a single-motor, rear-wheel drive model with 168 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque. It's rated at 127 miles per gallon equivalent, mpge, in the city, 94 miles per gallon e-highway, and 110 miles per gallon e-combined. Then there are 2 versions with the 77.4 kWh long-range battery. The single-motor rear-wheel drive version provides 225 horsepower and 258 pounds-to-foot of torque. That's good enough for a sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds, which would be an average time for a midsize SUV. With a driving range of 303 miles, it's rated at 132 miles per gallon e-highway, 98 city and 114 combined. The all-wheel drive version's dual-motor setup provides a total of 320 horsepower and 446 pounds-to-foot of torque, which will motivate the Ioniq 5 from a stop to 62 miles per hour in a rapid 5.1 seconds. That's roughly the same as the comparable Kia EV6 and all-wheel drive Mustang Mach-E. That extra power comes with a sacrifice in driving range, at 256 miles. And it's rated at 110 miles per gallon e-city, 87 miles per gallon e-highway and 98 miles per gallon e-combined. On the charging front, the Ioniq 5's 800-volt battery architecture means it can take advantage of 150 and 350 kilowatt DC fast chargers, the latter able to take the battery from 10% up to 80% in just 18 minutes. Which means you'll spend a lot less time at the charging station than almost every other EV out there. What's the Ioniq 5 like to drive? So far, we've only driven the all-wheel drive version of the Ioniq 5, and it is an absolute delight. With all the headline generating, eye-popping 0-60 times of ultra EVs like the Tesla Model S Plaid, it's easy to forget that a 5-second 0-60 time is still awfully quick. The Ioniq 5's instant torque is enough to snap you back into your seat as you rocket onto the freeway. With sport mode engaged, the Ioniq 5 will treat you to a light but delectable serving of the rear wheel's braking traction to let the rear end peek out to say hello. It's an addictive pleasure, and one that is sure to induce an endless supply of giggles. That said, the Ioniq 5 can also be incredibly well behaved. Its long wheelbase makes for a calming sense of stability at highway speeds, while you're quietly and comfortably whisked away to your destination. Hyundai's highway driving assist system includes adaptive cruise control, with machine learning to adapt to your driving style, and a very adept lane centering feature. The Highway Driving Assist 2 feature on the Cell and limited trims gets semi-automated lane changes and integration with the R HUD. There are also driving modes, normal, eco, sport and snow, to fit your mood or situation, and you can also dial in different amounts of regenerative braking force using the paddles on the back of the steering wheel. What other Hyundai Ioniq 5 reviews can I read? 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 First Drive Review. The electric hits keep coming. This is our first crack at the Ioniq 5, and we drive the top trim level with all-wheel drive in the city, on the highway and through some winding mountain roads. Let's just say we're in love. Autoblog podcast number 710. In this episode of our weekly podcast, we talk about driving the Ioniq 5. Among other things. How much is the 2022 Ioniq 5's price and what features are available? The Ioniq 5 starts at $40,945, including destination but before incentives, for the standard range, rear drive SE. Long-range versions start at $44,895 for the SERWD or $48,395 for the SEAWD. The SE trim includes 19-inch wheels, LED lighting, heated mirrors, dual-zone automatic climate control, proximity entry and push-button start, cloth seats, 8-way power driver's seat, heated front seats, 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, and 12.3-inch color touchscreen infotainment with voice recognition, wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Also available in higher trims are 20-inch wheels, LED projector headlights, premium LED accent lighting, power folding mirrors, rain-sensing windshield wipers, hands-free liftgate, leatherette seats, 8-way power passenger seat, ventilated front seats, heated steering wheel, a driver's seat relaxation footrest, an appreciated feature for waiting around for your car to charge, Bose audio system, augmented reality head-up display, wireless phone charger, sliding center console, second row AC vents, remote parking assist, rear side window sunshades, vehicle-to-load charger, 64-color ambient lighting, surround view parking camera, blind spot view monitor, highway driving assist 2 with automated lane changes and the ability to use your phone as a digital key. SE standard range RWD, $40,925. SE long range RWD, $44,895. SE long range AWD, $48,395. Cell long range RWD, $47,145. Cell long range AWD, $50,645. Limited long range RWD, $51,845. Limited long range AWD, $55,745. What are the Ioniq 5 safety ratings and driver assistance features? Every Ioniq 5 comes standard with forward automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, lane keeping assist, blind spot and rear cross traffic warning, safe exit assist, uses the last two items to warn you against opening doors into cars or bicycles, a driver inattention warning system, rear occupant alert, rear parking sensors and adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go functionality and lane centering steering assist. Also available are surround view parking camera, blind spot view monitor, front parking sensors, as well as the added functionality of highway driving assist 2, automated lane changes, and improved logic for adaptive cruise control to better adjust to cars cutting in front of you or encroaching on your lane. Besides simply having all these driver assistance features, it's important to note how well executed they are. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 has not yet received crash test and safety ratings from NHTSA or IS.